All right. Happy Tuesday, y'all. I am super excited to have Carli here. Carli wanted to present on holiday habits and staying consistent without losing your mind. And if anybody can navigate the holiday season well, who is also a very cheerful holiday person, it's Carli. So Carli, take it away.
Yes. Hi, you guys. Thank you for joining. And for those of you who are going to watch the replay, I'm super excited to talk about this. I feel like this is something that we hear all the time, right? You know, it's like, don't start over in January, just start now. But also like, okay, but how do I do that, right? Like what do we do to make the next 6 weeks realistic by not wanting to like lose our minds, but then also, you know, understanding like what can we actually accomplish in the next 6 weeks? What are our goals? What are we doing? For any of you guys who are in our EPN community, you've heard the same song and dance. Most of you, and probably not, if like not all of you are not in fat loss phases right now. Everybody's usually building and doing these other things because we believe in navigating your year that makes the most sense so that you can be, you know, crushing your goals while also living your life and not making everything miserable, right? So we're going to jump in. We're going to talk about a bunch of things. Listen, you guys, I have slides. I want to present something, but if you have questions or you got something that you want to chime in, like, please feel free to do so. I don't want this to necessarily feel like a lecture. Like I said, I always obviously got things to share, but if you've got something, like, please don't hesitate to be like, yo, question, you know, I'm on my laptop. So Lori might like help if you can see more people than I can, you know, like help me out there. And then also if you have specific questions about things like alcohol, I'm going to have Laura probably help chat about a little bit of that because I'm not your alcohol person, but we will talk about that as well in the thing. So if you have specific questions about alcohol, feel free to ask them. We'll kind of chime into that a little bit later, but I don't have like a specific slide talking about the booze because that is not my area of expertise, but here we go. So, alrighty. So we are going to be creating realistic strategies, busy women and men. Chris, I saw you on here. I don't want to single you out. Obviously, we just, you know we got lots of women, but we are not starting over in January, you guys, because we're making a plan right now. Most of us have probably been there. Again, if you're in the EPN world, you guys have heard the same song and dance. If you're not, we don't start over in January. We are starting right now with a plan for the next 6 weeks. You're not broken. It's not like you don't have enough willpower. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just the holidays are a really big stress test for our current habits because there's a whole lot of crap that goes on over the next 6-ish weeks, right? Depending on how you celebrate, what you celebrate. Again, you know, I don't want to take away from anybody's religious affiliations or beliefs or anything like that. Obviously, you know, I talk about Christmas because that's something that we celebrate, but regardless, there's a lot of different holidays that are going on this time of year, right? So let's talk about why it's so stressful. Laura's got me. She's helping me out here. Okay, so what makes things consistent so hard? Well, poor planning for starters, and we're going to talk about that a lot. Parties and alcohol, holiday treats everywhere. Who feels like their entire house is just covered in goodies from like December 1st until January 1st? Me, I don't know where you guys live or how you know things are, but for us, seems to be like neighbor gifts are always food. It's always food. It's always some sort of treat. Love that, but also what in the heck do we do with that? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Travel, schedule chaos, last minute invites. Okay, so these are why it's really, really hard to stay consistent this time of year. However, the holidays come around at the exact same time every single year, right? So it's really easy for us to be like, I don't know, it just snuck up on me. But all of these things are predictable. They don't change. Every single year, it's the same song and dance, right? December 25th is Christmas every single year. So to say, well, Christmas stuck up on me, it's like, well, that was poor planning on your part because it's literally the same day every year, right? So because these things are predictable, it also means that they can be planned for. Okay, here we go. So let's talk a little bit about if you are going to be tracking during the holidays, right? For me, I am someone who personally, I won't track on Thanksgiving Day, probably won't track on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, probably won't track on New Year's Eve, right? Those are very, very distinct days for me that I'm like, I'm not tracking those days. I want to be fully present, but I'm also somebody who I am not going to be like an asshole those days. Like, will I enjoy myself? Yes, but it is not a free for all for me. I am someone who has, and I talk a lot about this in my cohorts with my specific people, a lot with my one-on-one clients. Weekday Carli is the same as weekend Carli. Like vacation Carli is the same as regular Carli. Like holiday Carli. I mean, obviously, yes, I might be eating some things that are a little bit different, but for me, I have built a lifestyle and foundations to where I don't feel like I constantly need to escape from them. I don't need this excuse to not eat my protein. I don't need this excuse to not do these things because I actually really enjoy them. They make me feel my best. And so even on like a Christmas day, like if we always have cinnamon rolls for Christmas morning breakfast. We do it every year, but I'm also going to have like eggs and maybe some like chicken sausage or turkey sausage with it, because I know that if I eat just a cinnamon roll, I'm going to be crashing like a few hours, like an hour later. Right. So I'm always doing the things that are still foundational, even though some of my foods might be a little bit different. So if you are choosing to track and you're eating the day of a party, what is the best way that we can do this? Number one, front load the day with protein and nutrients, okay? You know the party's probably not gonna have a lot of protein, or you know there's not gonna be vegetables, you know there's not gonna be a lot of that stuff. How can you front load the day so that you're already getting ahead of yourself?
One thing I'm going to add, I'm going to break in for Carli here is, guys, those of you who are EPN clients, you know this, or if you're new EPN clients and maybe haven't read all things, we do not track on any of those days Carli listed. Like, our philosophy here is, if you are nailing the rest of the days, I do not care what you do on Thanksgiving. We do not care what you do on Christmas Eve. We do not care what you do on Christmas Day, because you have goals that are different. There are soul filling and family goals. And so what Carli's talking about here is applicable to the entire season. And we'll keep going from there. But like I will say, as an EPN across the board, we just don't track on those lists. They better be blank on your trackers.
Yes, absolutely. If you are an EPN community person, you know, you've been in our world, you have your blueprint, right? So we're going to talk about the date night blueprint, which essentially could also be your holiday blueprint, right? So basically this is where we take our meals or our calories for the day. We've broken them up between our meals for all of our EPN clients. You have worked through your workout blueprint, your rest day blueprint. Here's our date night blueprint, right? This is where those first 2 meals are going to be maybe slightly lower calories. They're going to be higher in protein, lower in fats and carbs. We're going to give ourselves wiggle room. So let's say, you know, if you have, 2,000 calories to work with, maybe those first 2 meals are 400 to 500 calories. And then you give yourself 1,000 to 1,200 calories for that specific dinner, right? What we are not doing is we are not skipping meals. This is one of the worst things that you can do, right? Thanksgiving's next week. A lot of people are like, well, I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to not eat in the morning because I know I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to have this big, huge dinner. It's a terrible idea, because what's going to happen is you are going to be ravenous, and then you're going to eat yourself sick and you're going to feel like crap, right? So what we do is we, again, do this date night blueprint. We're going to start the day. Maybe we zhuzh the timing of our meals. You know, for me, I will probably eat a later breakfast Thanksgiving morning. And then we just basically, I'm essentially probably eating like 2 meals and then probably having like some snacks, right? Where normally I'm eating like 3 to 4 more balanced meals, right? But we're not going to skip eating. We don't do that here. So don't skip meals. It's going to backfire on you big time. Pre-track what you can. Again, for most of us, you probably know what you're going to be having. Again, like I'm not tracking on Thanksgiving. I'll probably track the day after Thanksgiving. We're going to have leftovers. I literally know what it is. I'm going to pre-track what I can, going to fit in what I want to, go from there, right? So if you can pre-track what you're able to, work the rest of your way around that. Just estimate the best you can. Everybody starts to stress, well, how do I know what's in so-and-so stuffing? You're not going to. So just don't stress it. Go ahead and just estimate the best you can. Move on with your life. Your best estimate is still always going to be better than just saying F it and just not caring. Take a photo of your plate, log it later. This is something that we talked about for a really long time, where now you don't actually need to really do that. You don't need to take the photo and then log it later, because Chronometer has a photo logging feature. So, I mean, you can still upload the photo later, right? Or use that, but use that photo logging feature. Let it help you. All you have to do is just some things a little bit on the back end, but for the most part, it makes it so easy to take a picture of something that you're like, I don't even know how to break this down. Let AI help you. Let Chronometer help you. And then again, just like track it and move on with your day. Track leading into the event and give yourself wiggle room. So let's say that you have, like, this isn't one of the major holidays, right? But you have a Christmas, like a work party that you're going to. Maybe you track leading into the event, and then you give yourself, again, that 1,000 calories leading into the event. And you're like, I don't want to pull my phone out. I don't want to log it. I want to be present. I don't want to have to maybe log it later. I am just going to give myself some wiggle room, knowing that I need to be mindful while I'm there. But I know that I've at least hit some certain bullet points before going into the event. So questions about anything on this, or comments or anything from you guys? Anything? Hold on, Laura, I can't hear you.
One thing, sorry, mailman's coming soon, and I was trying to mute so the dogs don't go bananas. One thing I'll add in here, guys, is when you're thinking about how to front load your day or having these meals, they should be super nutrient dense. So think, for those of you who have been through Fat Loss Phase with EPN, you know, like, hey, I've got my like blueprint of those nutrient dense meals. So things like a shrimp veggie stir fry, things like, a chicken and rice and veggie bowl. Like those are really great options when you're trying to go, how do I get a super satiating, nutrient dense meal? This should not be making your typical meal much, much smaller if it's not as nutrient dense. And so that can also help you going into that meal going, okay, I'm super satiated because I chose foods that scale appropriately for those goals for that day.
Yes. Volume. Think volume. Absolutely. Cool. Okay. We'll move on. All right. So I've got a few different strategies here for you guys to think about, work through as we talk about how do we navigate the holidays. So we are going to sit down right now and you are going to look ahead at your calendar. You are going to plug every single date. Listen, I know I'm a little bit more type A than maybe some of you. I know that like my calendars and my schedules and all of that stuff, I'm not as spreadsheety as Laura, but I do have a lot of things organized in my phone and calendar. I realize that not everyone's like that, but again, we cannot just like wing it for the next 6 weeks and then expect to come out January 1st exactly where we want to be, right? So there has to be some planning in place. You're going to sit down, you're going to look ahead, you're going to plug every single date that you can into your calendar, and you're going to look at what's around them. Now, obviously, there's going to be last minute things that come up. We'll talk about some strategy with that. But again, these holiday plans, a lot of you, they're just already in place. You again can't use that excuse that it snuck up on you. Let's just like get ahead of the game right now and let's plan some things. We're going to talk a little bit more about this later about setting some boundaries. But again, also look at your calendar right now. If it is just overfilled, what can you eliminate? What can you say, you know what? We're not doing this year. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But this is number one. You need to sit down and you need to look and see what's going on. Don't wait for it to happen in the moment. Figure it out now and make a plan for it. Cool. Strategy number 2, prepare for the hiccups now. Again, if you ever heard the Boy Scout motto, right, is always be prepared. This is exactly what we're doing here. We are not going to wait until it is the full blown, like 4 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas, where everything seems to be just a chaos circus. You're going to stock up right now on things that are going to help you get through those things, through those 4 weeks, right? We're going to stock up on maybe some freezer meals. Maybe you make some. I know that I will sometimes throw together some of my freezer meals or my crock pot meals, and I'll freeze half of it now because I'm like, we don't necessarily need all of it for our family of 4. Can I freeze some of it? And then that is a really great option for one of those days where I'm like, we are going to be Christmas shopping all day. We are going to be out and about. We're going to be doing these things. I'm going to throw this freezer meal in my crock pot. By the time we get home later this afternoon, dinner's literally ready. And it took me no time because I prepared for it now. You can't expect yourself to make good choices in the heat of the moment. It is just really hard, especially when you have kids. Who here knows, like, when that tantrum or that psycho-ness hits with your children, it is just like the last thing you're going to do is sit down and make a 30-minute dinner, right? And so we need a plan A, B, and C. So right now where it's the calm before the storm, take time to stock up on those freezer options. We always have frozen vegetables, literally always in our fridge. I always have a couple of freezer options that it's like, you know what, this might not be the absolute best thing. This might not be like my number one choice, but it's also still going to be better than door dashing fast food. I live in an area, you guys, where we do not have access to good fast casual food, like at all. My town is very small. We have McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, and like a couple of like local mom and pop shops, but even them are not like super great as far as like nutrition and protein options. So for me, the options are fast food or I cook for myself. Like really, that's about what it is. For some of you, you might have better options, and I'm really, really jealous of that. But right now, like for me, we've got to stock up and we've got to have some things ready so that when those days happen and shiz hits the fan, I have some things that I can just hurry and grab and prepare for. This is also when we'll stock up on, some like protein shakes, maybe some protein bars, some different snack things like this. Here's the argument that I hear from a lot of people though. They're like, that stuff is expensive, right? Some of that stuff can be really expensive. Factor meals, things like that, like those ready-made services. You are going to spend stupid amounts of money over the next 6 weeks on stuff that is probably going to end up in the garbage or donated or whatever. Why not invest in yourself? Right? Like this could be something that maybe we don't agree on. That's okay. But so often people, especially this time of year, are so quick to just like not invest in their health. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to just go buy all this stuff that probably we don't actually need. Right? So again, maybe like reframe your thought process and be like, maybe I won't spend as much on this. And I'm going to like spend on actually preparing myself to be able to make it through the next 6 weeks and take care of myself and my family, because my health is actually probably more important than the latest Amazon gadget or find. Questions, comments, concerns? Do I still have your guys' attention? Are you like, shut it, Carly? We got this. Cool. Okay, so setting your minimums. This is also something that we talk a lot about in the EPN world. We don't need to be perfect. There is absolutely no reason to be perfect, especially this time of year. And often when we are trying so hard to be perfect, that's when we just flip the script and we don't do anything at all, right? So this is where minimums come into play. Knowing your protein minimum is really, really important. For a 150-pound female at 0.7, that's literally like 105 grams per day. Okay, if your goal is 150 and it is just literally not happening, then just set your minimum and just do your best to hit that minimum and then go from there, right? You're working like maybe a workout minimum. This is also something we talk about. You really only need 2 lifting sessions per week enough to actually build and maintain muscle mass, especially if we're really intentional with those. So maybe you can't hit all 4 workouts of TPA right now. Can you hit 2? And can you be really intentional with them? If you are checking the box and you can move on with some confidence. But oftentimes, again, it's like, well, if I can't do all 4, I might as well just do none. And that's where our mentality goes, right? Let's not do that. Steps, we have an awesome EPN TPA step challenge going on right now. I believe it started today or yesterday.
Tomorrow, next Monday.
Tomorrow.
So starting the week of Thanksgiving through,
right.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So starting next week, we're going to be doing our step challenge. Again, there's nothing magical about 10K. I know we hear 10K all the time. Everybody wants 10K, but can you just make sure that you're at least setting a minimum goal for yourself, depending on what your work schedule is like, what your travel schedule is like. Sometimes it's not always easy to get those 10,000 steps, but what can we do to at least be above our baseline or set our own minimum? And then, you know what? Maybe 1 serving of fruit and or vegetable a day is your minimum for the next 6 weeks. Obviously, we want more than that, but at least if you're getting 1 of each of those or 1 or the other, I would say that that is a win, and let's check it off the box and let's go. However, we did just drop the fiber guide to try to help you guys so that you can be, keeping your digestive systems happy. But again, this is not about perfection. This is just about you showing up and trying to put intention behind your actions so that you can say, at least I'm trying to do the best that I can given my circumstances. Cool. Okay, strategy number 4, enjoy it, make it worth it, and move on. So how we set up our environment is going to be really huge in helping us succeed. One of my biggest suggestions for you guys, if you are going to parties, holidays, even in your house, is don't graze, right? Load up what you want, go sit down somewhere and enjoy it. If you want more, make yourself physically get up and refill your plate. You can easily pound 1,000, 1,500 plus calories on chips and dip and guac and all this stuff if you were just standing at the counter, sitting there eating it mindlessly, right? Again, this is not about restriction, but this is about if you have goals. If you are someone here saying, I really want to stay dialed in this holiday season, then this is the strategies that I'm giving you, right? If you're like, well, that feels a little bit restrictive to me, Carli, then it's like, okay, cool. But then obviously, like, we're not talking about the same goals, right? So this is for you if you are really wanting to kind of focus in on your relationship with food, your environment, how you can get to the point where you don't feel like you are just on autopilot, just shoving stuff into your mouth for hours and hours on end at a party, right? So yes, don't graze. It's one of the worst things you can do because you're just being really mindless about it. Pair everything with protein, right? Pair it with protein or with the meal. If you want to have a cookie, that's great. Pair it with your meal, right? It's like, it doesn't have to be this standalone thing. Have your plate, fill it up, enjoy your dessert, and move along with your move along with your life. There's no reason to feel guilty about desserts or treats, but can you pair it with something rather than it standalone? Not only is this going to help us from just a volume standpoint, so you don't necessarily feel the need to like just have like 4 or 5 or 6 cookies, right? But it's also going to help with blood sugar and insulin levels and all of these things, right? Like, we're pairing things to keep it balanced because we want to help ourselves feel our best. Make it worth it. There is no rule saying you have to finish something if you're not enjoying it. We've talked about this so much as our own coaches. Like, I think that Laura's done this for Mickey. It's just like, I went and got this latte and it literally sucked and it immediately went in the trash. And it sucks because it was like $6, but like, I'm not going to eat or drink something if I don't enjoy it. And that it's okay. It is okay to throw it away. It is okay to say no if you're not enjoying it, or it is okay to only finish half of it if you're full and, save the rest for later or throw it away. So many of us were raised in environments where we had to finish our plate, right? And that is a really big thing that a lot of us have had to work through over the years. And I'm just telling you now, if you need the permission, I'm giving it to you. And no thank you is a complete sentence. I also know this is very, very hard. And in fact, we just had a conversation, one of our cohorts, about this because one of our gals had gone on a girls trip and her cousins were just like, no, we have to get ice cream. No, we have to get ice cream. Like, we've got to take you to this place. And she's like, no, I don't feel like ice cream. I don't want ice cream. And they were like, no, we have to. So this goes both ways, right? No, thank you is a complete sentence for myself. Me being no, thank you. I don't want that. It should be respected. But also, if you're the person that likes to push things on other people, try to respect their response as well. I don't think they're trying to be rude. You don't understand maybe why they're saying no, but also just be respectful. If somebody doesn't want something, just don't take it personally and just move on, right? No, thank you is a complete sentence, and you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to justify your actions. You don't have to tell people why you're not having the thing. If you bring brownies to my house, I will never eat them. And that is not me trying to be rude. I just don't like brownies. So there we go. I know it's weird, but I'm just telling you right now. And that is just something I will never probably eat because I just don't really like them. It's just not worth it to me. It's not worth the calories. Okay, so what do we do if it all goes to crap? What if you're just like, cool, Carli, all of these suggestions are really, really great, but like what happens when I just like blow the roof off of something? First off, we're not going to panic. We're not going to let our emotions get the best of us. It's easy to think that we've ruined everything when in reality, we probably didn't do as near damage as we think, which is another reason why we ask you guys to track. And we're like, even if you didn't track in the moment, go back and log everything. And chances are it probably wasn't as bad as you thought. And even if it was, there's nothing you can do about it now. So let's just learn from it and move on to the next thing, right? We're going to choose the next step. You are only one workout away, one meal or one decision away from getting right back on track. Who here has daughters and who here has seen Frozen 2? And you know the song, right? Do the next best thing or the next right thing. What is it? I don't know. I haven't seen Frozen 2 in a while, but like that song came into my head when I was thinking this. But you are seriously only one decision away from getting yourself right back on track. We don't need to wait till Monday. We don't need to wait till January. Start on a Wednesday evening after the morning's gone to crap and you're like, cool, we're just going to get pizza tonight because all three of my tires are flat. I might as well flatten the fourth one, right? Like, no, just like get right back on it. You're only one decision away. And then we are going to remember the big picture. We have to learn how to allow for real life things to happen while we work towards our goals and just keep the long game in mind. One day cannot ruin anything, even a few days, even a weekend. It cannot ruin months and months and months of hard work, but it can if we let those 3 days roll into 2 weeks, right? And so we really, really have to remember the big picture. And I don't know what everybody else, like Mickey, Laura, Kate, everybody's clients. I don't have a single client that is about to step on a bodybuilding stage or do any sort of like crazy competition. Okay. My clients are all lifestyle. They are busy women and moms that just want realistic strategies so that they can do this forever. And your all or nothing mentality is the only thing that's really killing your progress because you just feel like it has to be perfect or not at all. And we just have to remember that big picture and keep those long game goals in mind.
One thing I'll add here, Carli, I think you made some really, really good points. We had a call last night in one of my groups, and quite a few people are traveling for work right now, and which I think is really good prep for this season. And one of the girls was like, I guesstimated every single day. So when I got back and I had a 5-pound scale swing, the only thing that kept me sane is because I guesstimated. She's like, I know it wasn't a food. I know it was a salt and like a hormonal and like bad timing kind of issue. But when you guys have that data to guesstimate of like, what did I do? What did I eat? Then you know, oh, I didn't blow it. It's not a food thing. It's not, I didn't just gain 5 pounds of fat. I ate close to my normal calories. This is truly stress and sodium and water retention going on. And so when we think about empowering you guys with the data, guesstimating, tracking is always a very helpful tool in your back pocket to help you with the mindset piece here.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Absolutely. Okay. So let's reframe what winning looks like. I think this is also something too that can be really hard, especially for a lot of us who have gone through some toxic diet culture mentality through the years, where for us, winning always just meant change, right? Like if I'm not losing weight or I'm not seeing body change, then I'm doing nothing, right? When sometimes winning is literally just maintaining. It is just it is just being able to start January 1st without feeling like you're having to dig yourself out of a hole. Practice makes perfect, and we allow ourselves to take messy action during these busy times of the year, and we work on building skills. We are setting ourselves up for long-term success. One thing I wanted to share was that one of my clients, this was earlier this year, but she texted me and was like, Carli, I feel like a complete and total failure. I went to this work conference. I was going to do my absolute best to stay on track or whatever. And then everything just went to hell in a handbasket. And I just feel like a complete and total failure because I let their decisions kind of get to me. And I was like, I'm so glad this happened to you. She was like, what? Why? I'm like, because you get to now learn from this. You get to now have this experience and you get to take all these feelings and you get to work through that. And the reason why so many women especially stay stuck is because they are unwilling to sit in their feelings about food and their body and what those relationships look like. We just want it to be easy forever. We want a checklist of this is exactly what I follow. Tell me what macros to hit. Tell me what meals to eat. Tell me what workouts to do. And if I don't have to think about it and I just follow the plan and then I get everything that I want, I'm going to be happy. Until you have a situation where you have to work through these emotions and you have to work through these feelings and you have to work through, why did I let myself eat that thing when I didn't actually want it, but I felt pressured because everybody else was eating it, right? Like you have to work through those messy emotions so that you, when that situation comes up again, because it inevitably will, what am I going to do? How am I going to work through this, right? And so I think that for me, I actually really like when my clients quote unquote fail, even though they can't fail because they're always trying, because then I'm like, cool, let's see what we can do about this situation. So the next time it happens, we know exactly what we're going to do. Right. But if you're never messing up, if you are never having those hiccups, then we have nothing to work through. Right. Okay. And then let's also talk about 80-20 because we hear that a lot, right? Like if you're staying 80-20, you're moving the needle, right? 45 days left in the year. Okay. That means that 80% would be 36 days. Okay. So 36 days, you're dialed in. You are hitting your protein, you're hitting your workouts, you're hitting your steps, you're getting good sleep, you're doing all these things. That leaves 9 whole days that you could essentially be off track, right? We have 4 at least, again, not trying to dismantle anybody's holiday season or whatever, but for me, I have 4 major holidays over the next 6 weeks: Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve. Okay. That's only 4 days. That means that I still have another 5 days that essentially I could really just be off track and I am still 80% consistent. So again, when you pull back and you look at this and you realize that you're not really messing things up when you have an off day here and there, but when that off day turns into 3 or 4 days or a full-blown week, then yes, you are essentially knocking yourself out of that 80% consistency. Okay. It's okay to say no. It's okay to throw it away. If you need permission, I'm going to be the one to give it to you. There's literally no rule saying you have to keep all the holiday treats given to you and keep them on the counter for a month. If you are somebody that feels weird about throwing things away, I get that. Again, a lot of us were raised where that is just like extremely wasteful. Freeze them. If there's a holiday treat that you really, really like and you don't feel like you can be in control with it just sitting out on your counter, freeze them. Hold just a portion out for that one day. Track it, work your day around it so you can have it. Donate them. There's times where neighbors are bringing us gifts or treats or things like that. And I'm like, we are not going to get through this, or I don't want all this on my counter, but we are going to a potluck literally tomorrow night. So I'm going to take some of these things with me and then I don't have to cook myself or I don't have to make something, right? Again, moderate them. If you want them, have them. It's totally okay. I will literally have some sort of dessert or treat every single day for the rest of the year. I have a dessert or treat every single day, 365 days a year. There is not a day goes by that I don't have some sort of treat. Okay. But also if you need to, just throw them away. It's not doing you any good to just put it in your stomach if you don't really want it or it's not serving you. Again, you can disagree with me and that's okay. But if you are somebody who wrestles with that and you just need permission that it is okay for all of that to just go in the garbage, I will be the one to give it to you. And then going back to what we talked about, set boundaries this time of year. It is okay to not go to every party, get together, festivity. If you are doing it out of obligation and resentment and you are not actually really wanting to be there, it is okay to set no and set those boundaries. I think that our perimenopause crowd, you guys know the girl on Instagram, the We Do Not Care Club chick. She's so funny. I think that most of us that are getting into our like 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond, we're like, seriously, we don't care. But I know there was a time, especially in my life, where I'm like, I felt like I had to be to every single thing. It was just like expected of me. I'm a born and bred people pleaser. It's something that I'm working through. But as I've gotten older, I'm definitely like, no, we're not going. We're not going. You know, it's just not something that I feel like we can work into our schedule. And that is okay. So again, if you need the permission, I'm giving it to you. Set boundaries, protect your peace. You don't have to go to everything. And it's okay. It'll be okay. Okay. What is upcoming? Laura, I will let you talk about Shift Strong Collective and Base Camp, and then we can kind of talk about what's coming. And then it'll be a great time to do some like Q&A.
Yes, guys, we have quite a lot coming in the next 2 months. So this Friday, enrollment for Shift Strong and Base Camp opens. Shift Strong is a 12-week cohort with Laura, and it is specifically for our healthcare workers. Other Laura, not me talking about me in the third person. And this is really, truly how to build mental resiliency, how to fall back in love with your job again, and how to manage a very erratic schedule when you're flipping shifts, when you're working a certain amount of days a week and trying to because a lot of our tips here are for people who are working that kind of 5-day-a-week job that have a more standard schedule, and like shift work is an animal unto its own. And Laura's going to help lead that group with and navigate that season. So on the base camp side, this is a light cohort. This is not the full cohorts that we're going to talk about for January, but this is a light cohort that gives you the option to kind of get a taste of what we do at EPN. It includes both training and our spreadsheet, as well as some education. We'll have a weekly call, but it's going to be to a broader group of people. So similar to if you guys were around for our accountability group last year, this is a beefed up accountability group. It includes training and gives you a taste of what our cohorts are, because we do not have cohorts launching this year. We have cohorts launching at the end of January. So Carli, what is Mom Strong?
Yes. So you guys, the cohort I'm doing in January, for anybody who's been around for a while or following, you know, I was kind of doing more intro to nutrition and tracking before. But we found that like really that is just really more of a one-on-one setting. You know, a lot of our clients that started there are still crushing it, but for a group environment, it did just feel like that was something that fit better for someone to be in a one-on-one. So Mom Strong is going to be, again, you don't have to be a mom to be in it, but because a lot of my clientele are busy moms, like that's just my demographic, we are going to be talking and working through how in the world do I get to feel confident in my skin while I am chasing kids? How do I make sure that I'm allowing my kids to chase their dreams while I'm also focusing on myself? And so we are going to be spending 12 weeks really building super small foundations, and we're doing a lot of mindset work. We are going to really be focusing in on like, what does a year look like for me? How do I plan this out? And at the end of the 12 weeks, you might be ready to do a fat loss phase. Maybe you're going to do your first build. Maybe you're just going to keep cruising through body recomposition, maintenance, you know, really just like you're finally dialing all the things in. But this is going to be the cohort for you if you are in that season where, you know, you're not necessarily in the perimenopause window just yet, but you are maybe like in the season of life where you feel like you finally have some time for yourself again. This is going to be the perfect place for you. And I am really, really excited about it.
I am super stoked, Carli, that you're debuting this. I think it's going to be a really great fit for an underserved population of our clients. And so the second thing I'm also very, very excited for in January is Mickey's Menopause and Muscles Round 2 cohort. Y'all, some of you are in it right now. This is, I'm going to say that Mickey's Menopause and Muscles cohort is truly the most successful cohort that we have launched in 2025. Not undercutting my groups. My groups, you guys are great. But like this group has been just absolutely smashing their muscle build. So Mickey, go ahead and tell, give the 411 on what that is.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So it's a group of like-minded gals that are all within the season of perimenopause. Even we've got some postmenopause in there. And it's a bunch of gals that have decided that they do not care, and they're sick of a lifestyle and a lifetime of dieting and always chasing, you know, a smaller number. And so this last group, I think I have 9 or 10 in there, and they all decided that they are going to do the most aggressive build they can do. And they came to the call and I was like, what? Okay, let's go. So it's a 6-month cohort. So it's a longer cohort than what we offer in some of the other groups. We do about 12 weeks of maintenance foundations work first, and then we move into 12 weeks of muscle build. Many of those girls are choosing actually to stay in their muscle build longer. And then we set you up so that you stay with us and continue into a fat loss phase. So it's really puts them about a year's worth of work at the end of it, and they have some solid foundations with the community group of like-minded gals in the same season, navigating possible HRT, just kind of some of the fun that comes along with this fun season of perimenopause, menopausal life, all the good stuff. So yeah, super excited to start that in January.
And lastly, I will be hosting 2 muscle building cohort, one for men and one for women. And this is not 12 weeks. This is a 6-month cohort, and we are going to be building for about 5 of those 6 months. So if you want to really rip off the Band-Aid and you don't feel like you fit in Carli or Mickey's group, if you fit in one of their groups, I want you to pick their group first. But if you're like, I'm not sure what's a good fit for me and I want to build muscle, or you're a dude, you're going to have to sign up with me. So we can always chat about that further. Feel free, if this is something you think is a good fit or might be a good fit for you, to schedule a call with Carli or Mickey or myself. With all that to be said, though, if you have any questions or thoughts or like specific things you guys are navigating this holiday season, please drop it in the chat or come off mute. We would love to help you answer them.
Yes. Thank you guys for being here. I was very excited to do this because I just know that this time of year, we just struggle with the mentality around like, how in the heck am I supposed to do this? And again, it's like, I didn't give you guys checklists. I wasn't like, eat this or do exactly this, because the reality is I don't know what your life looks like. And when we are constantly trying to fit ourselves into someone else's mold of life, it just doesn't work. You have got to put in the time and effort to figure out what is going to work for you. And again, a lot of it comes down to like, what's worth it, what's not. Again, I know we didn't like touch on alcohol. So if you guys have specific like alcohol questions or things like that, like, again, this is your time. We've got some, we've got some time. So please feel free to like, don't be shy.
I love that I got positioned as the alcohol expert here.
Well, Mickey can too. I'm just saying, listen, guys, I literally never drank alcohol in my life. Okay. I don't know anything. So I just cannot be helpful. I can give you like, from a coaching perspective, but not from like a personal life perspective. So I just am no help. Anything? Nothing? That was just so good. You can't, Sheila, ever.
Sheila asked, what if I wanted to lose weight instead of building muscle? Okay, so this has been I'm going to address this because I think this has been a question that has come up quite a bit in this season, especially coming off of Halloween and just feeling a certain kind of way because maybe we overindulged. And guys, we have 7 weeks left in the year, actually a little less, 6 days, 6 weeks and 6 days left in this calendar year. And my kind of question back to you is, what are we going to accomplish in 6 days and 6 weeks with a bunch of holidays sprinkled in that we couldn't accomplish better in January, February, or March? So if we try to fat loss in this season, you guys, we have a limited amount of pennies to spend in fat loss. And so if your body is going to have the capacity to do 8, 12, 16 weeks of a fat loss phase, and you spend 7 of them in the next 7 weeks, but we only lose 1 to 2 pounds, you just spent 7 of your pennies, right? And you only get that. It's not like we can just extend it another 7 weeks because you have psychologically and stress wise put your body in this deficit. And even if we end up YOLOing on the parties, it's only going to come to bite us back in the ass. And so if we go, hey, if I have a big goal of, I have a big fat loss bite to choose off to, I want to take a big bite of the fat loss apple in 2026. Then let's do that in 2026 and spend this season figuring out how to make peace with navigating the uncertainty, applying all these tips Carli just gave you to understand, okay, I actually can track on a holiday. I can take a photo. I can build these skills that are going to help me in this fat loss phase in the future, because that skill building is going to be essential. You're not going to learn it in a fat loss phase. So if we can learn it now, you're going to be far better set up for fat loss come next spring than you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, what are you going to accomplish in 6 weeks? And the reality is I feel like that a lot of people are like, well, I just like, I don't want to see my family like in this position, right? Like I just like, if I could lose like 10 pounds before I have to go to the family party or whatever, right? I mean, that's a mentality I feel like some people have, right? Like I haven't seen these people for so long. I want to be in a better place. It's like, first off, they might not even notice, and then how are you going to feel if you walk in and nobody makes a comment or something like that? This is a conversation I had with another client recently. So this is not like me pulling this out of somewhere. They were like, they've recently lost like 20 pounds. And she's like, no one said anything. She's like, it kind of bugs me. Like I've worked so hard. And I'm like, they probably just haven't noticed. And I'm like, if you were to put a picture side by side, they would be like, holy crap. But for a lot of people, they maybe just like didn't really notice, right? So don't do stuff for other people. Don't do stuff for the validation of others. If that is what your motivation is, then we need to have some much deeper conversations, right? Because that is not the reason why we are making these decisions. And again, like Laura said, what are you going to be able to squeak out amidst all these other things, which might actually end up putting you in a hole? And then all of a sudden, you have, you go into January feeling probably not even your best anyways, when if you just waited and started off January in a position where you could just like cruise for 12 to 16 weeks, you're going to see far better results.
Okay, so a couple more comments in the chat. Chris says, I tried to cut and it didn't work during the holiday season, more stress than it was work. Then also added, don't work out and shame yourself if you YOLO or just hit the food a little bit hard. Exactly. And Karen chimes in and said, muscle builds are fun. So yes, guys, also one thing that we will teach you in any of our coaching is that it is the best if you're going to YOLOing in a surplus is likely going to partition so much more to muscle than if you YOLO in a fat loss phase. If you're trying to be in a fat loss phase, white knuckle it, and then you have a high calorie day, your body is more likely going to store that as body fat than any other season of nutrition. So again, that's why we really don't want you to be in a fat loss phase right now, knowing how tough the season is to manage by itself, let alone in a fat loss phase. Another Laura added here, sorry, Laura Heard, we have a number of Lauras in this group. It just is what it is. I tried a lot of different methods and nothing sticks and works so far. I'm open to new methods and having a hard time with what the right and wrong things to do are. So Carli, Mickey, what would you be, what's your best advice for Laura in the season right now?
Yeah, I'll chime in, Mickey, and then if you've got something. So, I mean, Laura, I don't know what you've tried, but chances are you haven't tried something where you meet yourself where you are. Maybe you have. I don't want to jump to conclusions here. This is something that we could obviously have a side conversation about. But when somebody ever says, like, I've tried everything, it's like, have we tried to meet ourselves where we are? And have we tried a much slower process, right? I can't tell you the amount of clients, me, Laura, Mickey, we can all attest to this, that somebody's come in and they'd be like, I've literally tried everything. And as we start to walk them through our specific EPN process, where we don't give you specific targets right out of the gate, we don't have you hitting specific macros. And instead we say, where are you and where can we go from here? And 6 months down the road, they're eating more than they thought they could. They're actually body recompositioning in maintenance. We haven't even gone into a fat loss phase and we're already seeing these changes. A lot of times it is because we are trying too many different things rather than just meeting ourselves where we are, that nothing seems to be sticking. Either that, or we just haven't stuck with it long enough, because sometimes these things take time. And it's like, oh, well, nothing happened in 3 months, so this obviously doesn't work. But like maybe 6 or 9 months down the road, it would have. We just needed to stay with it long enough. So again, without knowing the specifics of what you've tried or what you've done, that's just what pops in my mind. But Mickey, you might have some opinions too.
Yeah, no, I think that's all really good. Like, again, not knowing you at all, Laura, and kind of what you've tried and where you've been. But, you know, I have several clients that have a lot of weight to lose. And I have a one-on-one client actually that she came in and wanted to be in maintenance. She's like, I got to learn some new skills, some new foundations. And as we kind of like dove into like meal size, meal quality, you know, we kind of found that, and this is very common, like for women, is that you've learned and you've been in this diet culture for so long, you're kind of always like, you're always thinking about shrinking. And even if that's like not what's on the front, you know, like your action items are doing that, like that's what's in your mind. And so a lot of times women will save their calories for the end of the day. And so just applying some pretty like simple you know, changes to calories and things, it makes such a big difference. And this one client I have came in, wanted to do maintenance and started tracking, and we just started shifting like quality, sizes, things like that around. We just really built her a really solid blueprint without doing like any like, you know, specific macros or anything like that. I was just like, let's just look at these foundation things. And she has lost 20 pounds and she's eating 2,700 calories a day. And so, I'm like, we're not even close to maintenance. Like I can't even get her to stop losing. And she's like, I cannot believe how much I'm eating and how good I feel and what my workouts look like. And these calories are so high for her. I'm not saying everybody's that high, obviously, but it's just one of those things where you start to really kind of like pay attention to, you know, what it is you're consuming, when, how, if you're that diet mindset, if you start to pull yourself out from restricting all week and then screwing it on the weekend as being like, whatever, because you're white knuckling it and starving. It's learning how to like be real stable with your choices and your calories and things like that. So yeah, I hear you. People come in with a lot of weight to lose and people come in with other goals. And, you know, it's like, you have to kind of just go like, I'm going to play the long game here. And we will brainwash you very quickly into believing us. And you'll see like every one of our clients will be like, okay, they were right. They all say it. So yeah, we've got a lot of skills and foundations that might be a little different than what you've experienced or done in the past. But yeah, we're always here to walk alongside you if you ever need it.
Yeah. I was also going to say really fast, I posted about this on my Instagram the other day, but there was like a year where I was doing all the things. I was training for a half marathon. I was teaching group fitness. I was also trying to follow a progressive overload program. And I like literally in my mind, even though I've tracked before and all the things, I was just like, well, I'm doing all this activity. I don't really need to track. And so I'd kind of track here and there, but not And in my mind, I was just like, oh, I'll probably like lose some weight, like I'd been my baby was not even 2 yet. And so I just was kind of in that season as well. I can show you guys pictures. There was literally zero change in my body an entire year. And I was doing all the things. Like I was doing so much activity. I was doing so much stuff. And now for the last 3.5 years, I pretty much lifted consistently 4 days a week and walked. Occasionally I've done like a 10K here and there or whatever, but so oftentimes too, as women, we do too much and our body is just in this constant like stress ball of burning fire. And we just think we just need to keep adding things when sometimes you just need to eliminate some stuff and you need to do less, and you need to do less a lot better. And when we start to do that and our body starts to feel safe, it will actually start to release and lose things. But oftentimes it's like we've just got too much going on and we're trying to do too many things, and everything, all of our hormones are out of whack, especially if you are in that perimenopause window, right? Like Mickey can attest to this. Sometimes the best things that she does with her clients is just less and doing it better than trying to continually add on more things. So yeah, anyways, so hopefully that kind of helps. And yeah. Sorry, I didn't even know how to end that. So
No, that's good.
The thoughts come in and then they just go to like squirrel moment. They're out, literally out the window.
That's okay. It's just me and my team of squirrels here. So the good news is, Laura, if you just take a look at every single person in this group here, 9 out of 10, 95% of this group, who I know all of them, came in with the exact same goals. And they're still here. So many of these gals have been, plus Chris, plus Alan, sorry. Many of these gals plus 2 dudes came in with these same goals here, and they're still here. So one of the things that I think will just to allay your fears here. Cool. Okay. Sheila dropping questions about carbs. That's a very vague question. So I'm not going to answer what are your thoughts on carbs unless you have a more specific question. It's one of 3 important macronutrients.
Our thoughts are we love them and
Yes.
we need them.
Yes.
As a whole. Should I cut them?
Oh,
I love how all of our people are shaking their head. No.
Don't. More anything else, ladies? You have a captive audience here especially with Carli and Mickey. We can answer just about anything you throw our way or tell you that we can't answer it, and then we'll circle back to it. So
how are you guys feeling about the holidays? Do you feel like what I shared was like something that you were like, okay, yeah, that's helpful? Or you're like, yeah, I've heard it all before? Or is it like, okay, cool, those are great, but like also I still don't know how to apply them? Like, my goal was to be broad enough that it could kind of hit all the targets, because obviously, again, we can't get specific. I don't know everybody's specific life. But also at the same time, I know that sometimes we're like, okay, cool, that was really fun and like gave me a warm hug, but like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah, I think it was great timing with everything. Like next week, I'm gone Wednesday through Sunday on a hunting trip with family and friends, whatever, and everything. And so it's just, I think, really up to the person to apply it themselves and actually have the will.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess one thing we didn't really touch on is like, how do you navigate travel? Right? Like that is something that I think that, and probably again, for me, it's not where my brain goes, because my family, we all live in the same place. So everybody travels to us, but we don't really travel. But pack food. They're like, as long as it's not liquids, like you can pack food on an airplane, again, bars and shakes, that while they're not the best, like as far as like nutrient density, they are great in a bind, right? When you get to wherever you're going. Again, sometimes it can feel uncomfortable, but can you tell your family like, hey, could I do like a grocery order or like a delivery? Would it be okay if I chipped in and like was able to grab some things or whatever as well? I know sometimes we feel like we're going to be stepping on people's toes. And again, family dynamics can be really, really tricky, because I know some people's mothers and mother-in-laws would be like, no, I've got it all taken care of, and you don't want to like overstep. But also, we're all grown ass adults. And I think that as a 35-year-old woman, I should be able to like go to someone's house and say, can I make sure I have eggs and like chicken sausage for breakfast? Because I can't just eat straight pancakes for 5 days, right? And so, yes, what about bring your own food to small amounts? Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly like what Chris was saying, like bringing your own food. Or if you're at the potluck, we talked about this maybe earlier this last summer, right? There's a potluck and you're in charge of bringing something. Bring the high protein option, bring the fruits and vegetables, be the weirdo that's bringing the thing that maybe nobody else will touch, but you'll touch it. And then you'll feel really good about yourself. Right. So these are all different things too, that I think, we didn't really touch on, but as far as travel goes, Don't be afraid to, chip in, help get what you need to if you're going to somebody's house. Don't be afraid to pack food with you. Again, we can't just always leave it up to finding a fast food place or some sort of thing. There's just not, sometimes those options aren't there.
One thing that came up in my group last night, which is people going to go travel to their in-laws for the week. Should I bring a food scale or not? And I think that's a really interesting question. We had kind of a broad array of answers here. For this client specifically, I was like, well, this is about to be your in-laws. You've been dating this boy for a while now. And like, this is part of your lifestyle. You've been an EPN member for 2.5 years. Like, this might be the time to be like, if I'm going to my in-laws, I just bought them a food scale because they like to bake. I'm like, this is helpful for you. But the way that I approach it at family specifically is I will use my food scale for the meals where it's not inconvenient. So if I'm like making breakfast for myself or making lunch, I'll use my food scale, but then I'll guesstimate dinner because I don't want to be in the way of like the dinner assembly line. No big deal. I can guesstimate on my plate. But if I have the ability to use it, I'm not like trying to do it in secret. I will talk to my nephews and be like, hey, I'm just trying to your aunt is trying to make sure she is strong enough to be able to carry both of you by their legs upside down until you're both 15 years old. That's my goal. So I just tell them that on the little kid side that I'm just trying to be strong, but it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm bringing a food scale, not to use it for every single meal, but it could be something that's helpful when you're thinking about navigating that space. If you're at a friend's house or if it's a day, that's very different. But an entire week spending, you might find that helpful. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. If you're like, I don't feel comfortable, I'm going to guesstimate the entire time, totally okay. But also know that there is always a spectrum of like, I'm using this 100% or I'm using this not. You can use it for breakfast or lunches or things that you're assembling if you find that helpful.
Yeah, for sure. Also, just remember, a lot of people have really disordered relationships with food themselves. So your scale tracking and things like that is going to make people feel really uncomfortable. But again, I think I've just gotten to a point where I'm like, I feel so confident in what I'm doing when I surround myself sometimes with other family or friends that are like, oh, well, I shouldn't eat this. And they make the comments and the things because I feel like are still very confused as to where they're going, what they're doing. I'm not. I know exactly why I'm eating the way that I am. I know exactly what my goals are. I know exactly what my plan and strategy is. So for me, I don't ever necessarily feel like this awkwardness if I want to pull out my scale, because I'm just like, this is what I'm doing for me and it's working really well. And like, I'm happy to talk to you about it if you want to, but I'm also like, I don't want to make you feel weird, but I'm also like not going to shortchange myself just simply to make you feel more comfortable because you're really confused about what you're doing. Right. And again, like I'm a very nice person. Sometimes I say things and it's like, wow, Carli is like probably a little unhinged. I'm really not. But also like, I think that we sometimes have to just remember that like confidence in what you're doing is actually really, what's the word I'm looking for? Mickey, this is where it comes for me too. And I'm like, I just lost the word, but it's really, it dripples to people. What is the word?
Contagious.
That's it. Contagious. It can be really contagious. And I know, sorry, Laura's just mortified at me. Hannah-Lise, I think you jumped on here, but she just went on a girls trip and we've talked about like, the influence that she's had on like her sisters and other people and stuff. And it's like, it will be contagious and people will start to be like, wow, what they're doing seems to be working. And they seem to be having like a really good grasp on what's going on, right? They start to ask questions. They start to be curious. So again, just don't be afraid to do things. Yeah, there you are, Hannah-Lise. I love you. Okay, really fast. Do we want to
I think we've got one more. Laura added some color here, which I think will be a lot of people can resonate with. I was cutting carbs, but it was not sustainable. I have the will, just need more direction and what I can and can't eat. I tried high protein, low carb, and it was horrible and really not much progress than any. So I think the thing, guys, when we're thinking about building exactly what Mickey and Carli have already added here is figuring out where maintenance is and your foundation is. It can be really helpful because if we pull back on carbs, your body, this is where food tracking just becomes so essential because we honestly, like your body wants to be at maintenance. Your body wants to do the thing. So if you go, okay, I'm going to eliminate one food group, you're going to be like, oh, I'm a little bit more snacky for this other food group, or it's going to intentionally want to eat more in those directions. So when we start cutting out large food groups, it makes it really difficult. And we're only using the food groups as good and bad foods and rules. Your body is still going to overcompensate in one direction or another. So whether that's pulling back on your energy, and that's why we like to track the foods and also give you the ability to understand what those puts and takes are and what makes you feel your best. And the reason why we like to do food tracking here and why we're pro carbs is because what is sustainable? Like if you don't see yourself eating this way for 20 years, then it's probably not something that's going to be super helpful for you, right? Because our goal is to not only lose body fat, but keep it off. That means we have to figure out what maintenance looks like. And so if we can figure out what maintenance looks like and find what that balance looks like for you, you saw everybody nodding their heads on the carbs piece, because especially as females, carbs, one, help us with recovery. They help us manage stress, and they also help us sleep a little bit better too, and digestion. So like, I'm sure those three things were pretty out of whack when you were trying to be high protein, low carb. And so when we can balance and figure out, okay, how do I, not good or bad foods, but how do I find the balance that makes me feel my best? And then we can work backwards from there into, okay, you know, Laura, you've got this blueprint of here are these 3 meals and a snack that you eat every single day that you feel your best on. And then we just, when we need to, when it comes to a fat loss phase. But that's why we're not a big fan here. We've never said like we want you to do a low carb or a low protein or a high protein diet, because we have to find the thing that works best for you. And like Carli, I know you've been navigating this with a few of your clients who are coming out of this mindset here. So I'll kick that one over to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, essentially what Laura said. And again, this is where meeting yourself where you are and seeing what you're already doing really well, and then building off of that is key. I think so often too, so many women come in with this mindset of just like, I am the worst. I have terrible habits. I can't do anything right. Like they just beat themselves up. And when we pull back and we start to track and we start to do things, it's like, hey, you're actually doing a lot of things really well. Let's take this and build off of it and stop focusing so much on what we're not doing well or what we're doing wrong. And let's focus on what we're doing very well. And then let's build off of that, right? Again, a lot of women come in thinking like, I must be eating 4,000 calories every single day, all day, because I'm just this like, you know, person that just can't control myself. And then when we pull back the layers again, we are, not just women, but when we pull back the layers, it's like, no, we're actually just in this cycle of under eating and then overeating. And you're only remembering the overeating days. And you didn't realize that 2 days ago, you only ate 1,000 calories because you were so busy. Right. And then all of a sudden, but you're remembering the day that you ate 8 slices of pizza. And so now I'm such a horrible person. I have no willpower. It's like, well, no, you only ate 1,000 calories 2 days ago and your body is screaming for energy. Right. And so oftentimes it's like, we're doing a lot more well than we realize. And we can build off of that. And I know that for so many of our clients here, when we take this slow and steady approach and we start to build off of where you are 6 months down the road, they're like, I'm making decisions that I didn't even think that I could make on my own, but it's felt so natural. I didn't even realize it. Like hitting 130 grams of protein is like not even hard, but like 6 months ago, I could barely hit 80, but like, it hasn't felt like I've even made changes. Like it's such a natural process that for so many of our people, they literally just like wake up one day and they're like, I'm doing the things basically in my sleep. And I don't even know how I got here, but they did, because it's just become this well-oiled machine. But it's because we didn't bite off too much at one time. We weren't trying to change everything overnight all at once. We just set very realistic goals. And again, a lot of it comes down to, you have to have the mindset of like, this is not going to be an overnight change. This is not going to be a quick fix. This is something that you are going to have to dive into and work at for weeks and months and potentially years. I mean, essentially forever, but you know, it's just not going to be something that is going to be a quick turnaround, and that's okay, because we're here for life. Cool. Yep. Thanks, Mickey, for jumping on. Okay, cool, you guys. Well, I mean, I feel like that was super solid. I really enjoyed being able to get on here and chat and like kind of put this together for you guys. We'll have the replay. I don't know, Laura, do you want to kind of like wrap this up? I know that you've got like where this is probably going to go and everything.
Yeah, guys. Well, you're already here, so you're probably not going to need the replay. But if you jumped in the middle, I will get this emailed out and posted ASAP. Probably out this evening. And so thank you so much for joining live. Thank you so much for participating and the live questions. If you have any follow-ups, like again, don't hesitate to reach out to Carli, Mickey, or myself if you need anything. And we will see a lot of you in our calls this week. So if otherwise, have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks, you guys. You're the best. We'll see you later.